Okay. Great. We are live. We are live and alive. Very nice. Okay. So as we're usually doing, since the invasion of Ukraine, we are chanting the prayers of the Lord Nishingadev before we do the evening reading. And this is for the benefit of all the living entities, devotees and non-devotees alike, who are suffering in this world, and praying that Lord Nishingadev will protect everyone and bring everyone to devotional service. In addition, Lord Nishingadev destroys the unwanted things in the heart, like kama, krodha, manabatsarya, bharyabhaya, which means lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy. And so we pray for the mercy of Lord Nishingadev, and actually pray for good association, because when we don't have good association, the mind gets degraded. And if someone has good association, the mind gets elevated. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, one of the first things you have to do in devotional service is a satsanga tyage vaishnavachar. Avoid bad association. Why is bad association bad? It's not that people are bad. People are not bad. People are good, ultimately. But bad association is detrimental for spiritual advancement. Why is it detrimental? Because people not Krishna conscious, things that are not Krishna conscious, contain within them the modes of nature, and they put your vibration level really low. We want to elevate your vibration, to use modern age, new age talk. We'd like to elevate our vibration level through the modes of ignorance, passion, goodness, up to Vishuddha-sattva, the transcendental realm. If you want to be happy, that's the way to be happy. You're looking for happiness in so many other ways. It doesn't work like that. When you associate with the lower modes of nature, people with the lower modes of nature, you will be miserable, lamenting, an emotional train wreck. Believe me. Okay, let's chant the prayers of the Lord Nishingadev after that brief advertisement for Krishna consciousness. Namaste Narasimhaya Lada Lada Doyune Hiranyakashi Urvaksaka Chilatam Ganakalaye Itona Singa Aratona Singa Yato Yamita Tona Singa Akina Singo Ritayana Singo Stringamadev Nambrapajoy Stringamadev Shadanambrapajoy Stringamadev Shadanambrapajoy Namaste Nara Shingaya Vallada Lad Dayunay Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha Chilatam Ganakalaye Yatona Singa Yatona Singa Yato Yamita Tona Singa Makina Singa Rinayena Singa The Singa Madhir Sharanam Grapajoy Navakara come and let the brain come to sing Dalita Kashi Bhutana Bringa Sabatrita Nalamani Rupa Kadi Sante Dina Kadi Sante Dina Kadi Sante Dabakara come and love the brain the goodies holiday. Jai the goodies holiday. Navakara coming up a pray to come out to sing. Dalita, Iranya kasi puja no bring. They saw a tree die, not a holy rupa. The goodies all day. Die the goodies all day. Die the goodies all day. Die the string a day. The string a day. The string a day. The string a day. Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paramahansa Ostateta Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shyam Kund Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Ki Jai Maturam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Munamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namati. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravati Pacharni Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deja Tarani. So we continue with our reading of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, and I'm very excited. We're starting with chapter 2 of the Antya Lila today, which is a very heavy chapter. So fasten your seatbelts when we read this particular chapter. Very, very heavy. It's actually about the chastisement of Junior Haridas, which is an extremely heavy story. Almost scary story for all of you. So anyway, so we're going to go on to the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. So let's go. Omaganatimidanda Shagananjana Shlakaya Chakshudan Meditam. Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorancia. Okay, so let's share the screen without further ado. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So first we're going to read the chapter summary, chapter 2, the chastisement of Junior Haridas. Very heavy story. Very heavy. Fortunately, Srila Prabhupada is not so heavy with us. Phew. The purport of this chapter is explained by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Prabhava Bhasha as follows. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, wanted to explain direct meetings with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, meetings with those empowered by him, and his Avibhava appearance. Thus he described the glories of Nrsingananda and other devotees. A devotee named Bhagawan Acharya was exceptionally faithful to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nevertheless, his brother Gopal Bhatta Acharya, that's different than Gopal Bhatta Goswami, a different person, discoursed upon the commentary of impersonalism Mayavada. Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, the secretary of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, forbid Bhagawan Acharya to indulge in hearing that commentary. Later, when Junior Haridas, following the order of Bhagawan Acharya, went to collect alms from Madhavi Devi, he committed an offense by talking intimately with a woman, although he was in the renounced order. Because of this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected Junior Haridas, and despite all the requests of the Lord's stalwart devotees, the Lord did not accept him again. 1 year after this incident, Junior Haridas went to the confluence of the Ganges and Yamuna and committed suicide. In his spiritual body, however, he continued to sing devotional songs, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard them. When the Vaishnavas of Bengal went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, these incidents became known to Swarup Damodar and others. And this introduction actually answers one of the questions that someone gave me last class, was what type of body did Junior Haridas have when he went to chant before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Did he have a ghost body, a different type of subtle body? No. He had a spiritual body, and that's what's described by Srila Prabhupada. Okay, that answers that question. Vandayam Shigoro Shita Parakamalam Shigurum Vaishnavam Shirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Savaitam Sadvadutam Parajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha. I'm just going to do something here. Make this bigger, the text bigger for those of you watching on smaller devices. That's for all of you. I mean, I have a big screen here, but I think it's better for everybody. So, the translation is, this is the beginning, of course, of the chapter. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and of all other preceptors on the path of devotional service. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas and unto the 6 Goswamis, including Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and their associates. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all his devotees headed by Srivas Thakura. I then offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, Srimati Radharani, and all the gopis headed by Lila and Vishanka. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sarvaloka Udadite Gauravatara Nishtarara Hetutara Shivida Para Prakara. In his incarnation as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Sri Krishna descended to deliver all the living beings within the 3 worlds. From Brahmaloka to Patalaloka, he caused their deliverance in 3 ways. This is very interesting. Sakshad Darshana Arayogya Bhakta Jive Aveshikari Kahan Avir Bhave. The Lord delivered the fallen souls in some places by meeting them directly. That's called Sakshat. In other places by empowering a pure devotee. That's Avesha. And in other places by appearing before someone himself. As Avirbhava. That's another manifestation. Sakshat darshane praya sabha nishtari la. Nakula brahmachari hridehe avishtahai la. Prajuna nishingananage kaila vivava loka nishtari ba. Aishvara swabhava. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered almost all the fallen souls by directly meeting them. He delivered others by entering the bodies of great devotees, such as Nakula Brahmachari, and he delivered still others by appearing before them, as in the case of Nrsimhananda Brahmachari. I shall deliver the fallen souls. This statement characterizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord always manifested his Avirbhava appearance in the following four places. One, that means his personal manifestation, where you can see him with your two eyes. In the house of Srimati Sachimata. 2, wherever Nityananda Prabhu danced in ecstasy. 3, the house of Srivas, when Kirtan was performed. And 4, the house of Raghava Pandit. Lord Chaitanya himself appeared in these four places. In this connection, one may consult text 34. Sakshat darshane sabha jagat harila eka baraye tequila Caritamrta gila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally present, anyone in the world who met him even once was fully satisfied and became spiritually advanced. Wow. Kodadeshera Bhaktagana Prachabdasya Puna Goda Deshayaya Prabhure Miliya. Every year, devotees from Bengal would go to Jagannath Puri to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and after the meeting, they would return to Bengal. Aranana Deshera Loka Asi Jagannatha Chaitanya Charana Deki Aila Caritamrta. Similarly, people who went to Jagannath Puri from various provinces of India were fully satisfied after seeing the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Saptadvipara Lokahara Navakanda Vasi Deva Gandharva Kinara Manusha Veshe Asi. People from all over the universe, including the 7 islands, the 9 khandas, the planets of demigods, Gandharva Loka and Kinara Loka, would go there in the forms of human beings. For an explanation of Sapta Dvipa, that means 7 islands, or 7 continents, see Madhya Lila, chapter 20, verse 218, and Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapters 16 and 20. In the Siddhanta Shiromani, chapter 1, Goladhyaya, in the Bhuvanakosha section, the 9 khandas are mentioned as follows. Aindram Kasheru Sakalam Kila Tamra Parnam Anyad Agapashti Mad Atascha Kumari Kakyam Nagam Jasomnyam Miha Varunam Manchakandam Gandharva Samyanam Iti Bharata Varsha Madhye. Within Bharata Varsha there are 9 khandas. They are known as Andhra, Kasheru, Tamraparna, Gapashtimad, Kumarika, Naga, Somya, Varuna, and Gandharva. And you don't have to remember those, don't worry. Prabhure Dikyayaya, Vaishnavahana, Krishna Bali Nache Sabe, Prema Vishtahana. Having seen the Lord, they all became Vaishnavas. That's an ecstatic love of God. Godhead. They chanted the Hare Krishna mantra and danced. Text 12. E Matadarshane Tri Jagat Nishtari Ye Kayasite Nare Aneka Sangsari. Thus, by direct meetings, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the 3 worlds. Some people, however, were entangled in material activities and could not go. It's probably the majority of the world. Tasabatarite Prabhu se sabadeshe Yogya Bhakta Jiva Dehe Karena Chaiveshe. To deliver people in regions throughout the universe who could not meet him, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu personally entered the bodies of pure devotees, such as His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Sakshad. Uh, they became avatars, empowered incarnations, Shaktavesh avatars. Se jive nija bhakti karena prakashe, tahara darshane vaishnavahaya sarvadeshe. Thus he empowered living beings as pure devotees by manifesting them so much of his own devotion the people in all other countries became devotees by seeing them. As stated in the Caitanya Caritamrta, Antya, Lila, 7:11, Kali Kalera Dharma Krishna Nama Sankirtan Krishna Shakti Vinanahi Tare Pravartana. Unless one is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one cannot spread the holy name of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra throughout the world. Persons who do so are empowered. Therefore, they are sometimes called Avesha avatars, which is what I just said, or empowered incarnations, for they are endowed with the power of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. E matai veshe tarila tribhuvana kore aiche avesha kare digdarashana. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the entire three worlds, not only by his personal presence, but also by empowering others. I shall briefly describe how he empowered a living being in Bengal. Ambuya mulukehaya nakula brahmachari parama vaishnavateno vadadikari. In Ambuya Muluka, there was a person named Nakula Brahmachari who was a perfectly pure devotee, greatly advanced in devotional service. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Ambuya Mulaka is the present Ambika city in the Vardhamana district of West Bengal. Formerly, during the Muslim regime, it was known as Ambuya Mulaka. In this city, there's a neighborhood called Pyari Ganjo, and that is where Nakula Brahmachari used to live. Gaudadeshara loka nishtarite manahila Nakula Hridiye Prabhu Avesha Karila. Designed to deliver all the people of Bengal, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the heart of Nakula Brahmachari. Rahagrasta Praya Nakula Prema Vishtahana Hase Kande Nachigaya Umata Ona. Nakula Brahmachari became exactly like a man haunted by a ghost. Thus he sometimes laughed, sometimes cried, and sometimes danced, and sometimes chanted like a madman. Ashru Kamba Stamba Sveda Satvika Vikara Nirantara Preme Richa Sadhana Hunkara. He continuously exhibited bodily transformations of transcendental love. Thus he cried, trembled, became stunned, perspired, danced in love of Godhead, and made sounds like those of a cloud. Symptoms of ecstasy. Taiche Gorokanti, Taiche Sada Prema Vesha, Dahadeki Vare Aishe, Sarva Gora Desha. His body shone with the same luster as that of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he showed the same absorption in ecstatic love of Godhead. People came from all the provinces of Bengal to see these symptoms. Yare dege tare kahe, kaha Krishna nam, tanara darshane loka, haya premodama. He advised whomever he met to chant the holy names, Hare Krishna. Thus, upon seeing him, people were overwhelmed with love of Godhead. Chaitanya Raveshahaya Nakulere Nukalera Dehe Shuni Shivananda Hela Kariya Sandehe. When Shivananda Sain heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would enter the body of Nakula Brahmachari, he went there with doubts in his mind. He wanted to test him. It's a very interesting test. Pariksha karite tanra yavayicha haila Bhagirai Ragyata Vichara Karila. Desiring to test the authenticity of Nakula Brahmachari, he stayed outside, thinking as follows. Apane bolana more hi hayari jani, amarishta mantra jani, kahina hapane, tabe jani hunhate, haya Caitanya veshe, eta chinti shivananda, rahila dura deshe. If Nakula Brahmachari personally calls me and knows my worshipable mantra, then I shall understand that he's inspired by the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thinking in this way, he stayed some distance apart. Asankhya lokera gata kea seya lokera sangate kea darshanana paya. There was a large crowd of people, some coming and going. Indeed, some people in that great crowd could not even see Nakula Brahmachari. Aveshe Brahmachari kahe, Shivananda che dure, Jana dui chariyaha, Volat tahare. In his inspired state, Nakula Brahmachari said, Shivananda Sain is staying some distance away. 2 or 4 of you go call him. Charidike Dayaloke, Shivananda Bhali, Shivananda Kontamaya, Tvolaya, Brahmachari. Thus people began running here and there, calling in all directions. Shivananda, whoever is Shivananda, please come. Nakula Brahmachari is calling you. Text 29. Shuni Shivananda Sena Tanha Sigraila. Namaskara Caritamrta Nikateva Sila. Hearing these calls, Shivananda Sain quickly went there, offered obeisances to Nakula Brahmachari, and sat down near him. Brahmachari Vole Vale Tumikari Laksam Shaya Ekamana Hana Shuna Tahara Nishchaya. Nakula Brahmachari said, I know that you are doubtful. Now please hear this evidence with great attention. What an amazing story. Gora Gopal Mantra Tomara Chariyakshara Avishwasa Charadye Kariyacha Antara. You are chanting the Gora Gopal Mantra composed of 4 syllables. Gora Gopal. Gora Gopal. Gora Gopal, Gora Gopal, Gora Gopal, Gora Gopal. Now please give up the doubts that have resided within you. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains the Gora Gopal mantra in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. Actually, here's the mantra. Worshippers of Sri Gaurasundar accept the 4 syllables Go, Ra, Ga as the Gora mantra, but pure worshippers of Radha and Krishna accept the 4 syllables Radha Krishna as the Gora Gopal mantra. However, Vaishnavas consider Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu non-different from Radha and Krishna, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nayanya. Therefore, one who chants the mantra Gora Anga and one who chants the names of Radha and Krishna are on the same level, or Gora Gopal. But actually, yes, Radha Krishna, Hare Krishna, or Gora Anga. Gauranga. Tabi Shivanandera Mane Pratiti Haila, Aneka Samana Kari, Bahuvakti Kaila. Shivananda Sain therefore developed full confidence in his mind that Nakula Brahmachari was filled with the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shivananda Sain then offered him respect and devotional service. E Mata Mahaprabhura Achincha Prabhava Ebe Shuna Prabhura Yaiche Hayavira Baba. In this way, one should understand the inconceivable potencies of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now please hear how his appearance of Vir Bhava takes place that we went over two so far. One is the direct meeting with Lord Chaitanya. The second is meeting with one of his empowered devotees, like Srila Prabhupada, like Nrsingananda Brahmachari. Sachira Mandirayara Nichananda Nartane Shivasa Kirtanayara Ragava Pavane Echaritani Prabhura Sada Virbhava Rima Krishnahaya Prabhura Sahaja Swabhava. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always appeared in four places: in the household temple of Mother Sachi, in the place where Sri Nityananda Prabhu danced, in the house of Srivas Thakur during congregational chanting, in the house of Raghava Pandit. He appeared because of his attraction to the love of his devotees. That is his natural characteristic. Nishriyanande rage abir bhuta hayana bhojana karila taha shuna manadya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared before Nrsingananda Brahmachari and ate his offerings. Please hear about this with attention. Shivanandera Bhagina Shrikanta Sena Mama Prabhura Kripate Teno Bada Bhagyavan. Shivananda Sain had a nephew named Shrikanta Sain, who by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was extremely fortunate. Ekavatsharateno Pratama Ekeshvara Prabhu Deki Bhare Haila Utkanta Antara. One year, Shrikanta Sain came along to Jagannath Puri in great eagerness to see the Lord. Mahaprabhu Tare Deki Vadakripa Kaila Masadvi Teno Prabhura Nikate Rahila. Seeing Shrikanta Sain, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed causeless mercy upon him. Shrikanta Sain stayed near Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for about 2 months at Jagannath Puri. Tavi Prabhu Tanreyagna Kaila Godavirate Bhaktigane Nishedihi Diha Etake Yasite. When he was about to return to Bengal, the Lord told him, "Forbid the devotees of Bengal to come to Jagannath Puri this year." Evatsara tanhami yaimu apane tahai milimu sava advaitari sane. This year I shall personally go to Bengal and meet all the devotees there, headed by Advaitacharya. Shivanande kahiha amiye poshamase ichambite avashakami yaivatanra pashe. Please inform Shivananda Sain that in the month of Posha, December-January, I shall certainly go to his home. Jagadananda hayatan teno bhiksha dive sabare kahiha vatsara keha naasive. Jagadananda is there and he will give me offerings of food. Inform them all that no one should come to Jagannath Puri this year. Shri Kanta Syagore Sandesha Kahila Shuni Bhakta Gana Mane Ananda Haila. When Sri Kanta Sain returned to Bengal and delivered this message, the minds of all the devotees were very pleased. Chalite Chila Charya Rahila Stirahana Shivananda Jagadananda Rahe Prajasha Kariya. Advaitacharya was just about to go to Jagannath Puri with the other devotees, but upon hearing this message, he waited. Shivananda Sain and Jagadananda also stayed back, awaiting the arrival of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Poshamase Aila Dunhe Samagre Kariya Sanja Paryanta Grahe Apeksha Kariya. When the month of Posha arrived, Jagadananda and Shivananda collected all kinds of paraphernalia for the Lord's reception. Every day they would wait until the evening for the Lord to come. Matamasa Gela Goshani Nahila Jagadananda Shivananda Dukita Haila. As a month passed, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not come, Jagadananda and Shivananda became most unhappy. Achambite Nishigananda Tahani Aila Dunhe Tanvamiri Tabe Stane Vasaila Dunhe Duki Deki Tabe Kahina Singananda Toma Dukakare Kene Deki Nirananda. Suddenly Nishingananda arrived, and Jagadananda and Shivananda arranged for him to sit near them. Seeing them both so unhappy, Nishingananda inquired, why do I see that you are both despondent? Tabi Shivananda Tanre Sakala Kahila Asivagya Dila Prabhu Kene Na Hela. Then Shivananda saying told them, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu promised that he would come. Why then has he not arrived? Shuni Brahmachari Kahe Karaha Santoshe Amita Aniva Tanre Tritiya Divase. Hearing this, Nishigananda Brahmachari replied, please be satisfied. I assure you that I shall bring him here 3 days from now. Tanhara Prabhava Prema Jani Dvijane Anibe Prabhure Ebe Nishchaya Kaila Mane. Shivananda and Jagadananda knew of the Nishingananda Brahmachari's influence and love of Godhead. Therefore, they now felt assured that he would certainly bring Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhujuna Brahmachari Tanra Nija Nama Nishingananda Nama Tanra Kaila Gora Dama. His real name was Prabhujuna Brahmachari. The name Nishingananda had been given to him by Lord Gaurasundar himself. Dvidina Jana Kare Shivanandera Kahila Panihati Gramayami Prabhure Anila. After meditating for 2 days, Nishingananda Brahmachari told Shivananda, saying, I've already brought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the village known as Panihati. Kali Madhyane Tenho Asibena Tamara Gare Pakasamagri Anaha Ami Viksha Dimu Tanre. Tomorrow at noon he will come to your home. Please, therefore, bring all kinds of cooking ingredients. I shall personally cook and offer him food. Tabe Tanre Hetame Aniva Satvara Nishchya Kahilana Kichu Sandeha Na Kara. In this way I shall bring him there very soon. Be assured that I am telling you the truth. Do not be doubtful. Ye chahiye tahakara hanatatpara atitvaraya kadiva paka shuna atha para. Bring all the ingredients very soon, for I want to begin cooking immediately. Please do what I say. Pakasamagri anahami yahachai yema gila shivananda anidila tai. Nishingananda Brahmachari said to Shivananda, please bring whatever cooking ingredients I want. Thus Shivananda saying immediately brought whatever he asked for. Pratakala haite paka karila para nana vyanjana pita kshira nana upahara. Beginning early in the morning, Nishingananda Brahmachari cooked many varieties of food, including vegetables, cakes, sweet rice, and other preparations. Jagannatha Rabina Boga, Pritagba Dila, Chaitanya Prabhura Lagi, Haraboga Kaila. After he finished cooking, he brought separate dishes for Jagannath and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ishtadeva Nasingalagi, Pritagba Dila, Tina Jani Samapya, Vahira Dhyana Kaila. He also separately offered dishes to Nrsingadeva, his worshipable deity. Thus he divided all the food into 3 offerings. Then outside the temple he began to meditate on the Lord. Deke Shigrasi Vasila Chaitanya Goswami Tina Boga Kailat Kichu Avashishta Nai. In his meditation he saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come quickly come, sit down, and eat all three offerings, leaving behind no remnants. So in other words, Lord Chaitanya was eating the remnants of Lord Jagannath and Lord Nrsingadev. If you're Lord Chaitanya, you can do that, but you should not do that. Anande vivala prajuna padayashrudhara ha kiva kara balikaraye pulkara. Prajuna Brahmachari was overwhelmed by transcendental ecstasy upon seeing Caitanya Mahaprabhu eating everything. Thus tears flowed from his eyes. Nevertheless, he expressed dismay, saying, "Alas, alas, my dear Lord, what are you doing? You're eating everyone's food." Jagannathe Tomaya Daikya Caitanya Bhoga Nrsinghera Bhoga Kene Karopa Yoga. My dear Lord, you are one with Jagannath, therefore I have no objection to your eating his offering. But why are you touching the offering for Lord Nrsingadeva? Nrsinghera Kaila Jani Aji Upavasa Takura Upavasi Rahe Jiye Kaicha Dasa. I think that Nrsingadeva could not eat anything today, and therefore he is fasting. If the master fasts, how can the servant live? Bhojana deki yadyapi tanra ridiye ulasa Nrsinga laksha kari vaye kichu kare dukhabasa. Although Nrsingananda Brahmachari felt jubilation within his heart to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eating everything for the sake of Lord Nrsingadev, he externally expressed disappointment. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Chaitanya Goshani Jagannatha Nrsingasaha Kichu Beta Nai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, therefore there's no difference between him, Lord Jagannath, and Lord Nrsingadeva. Iha Tani Vare Prajunera Gudahaita Mana Taha Dekaila Prabhu Kariyabo Jana. Prajuna Brahmachari was deeply eager to understand this fact. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed it to him by a practical demonstration. Bhojana Kariya Prabhu Ikela Panihati Santosha Paila Deki Vyanjana Paripati. After eating all the offerings, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started for Parihati. There, he was greatly satisfied to see the different varieties of vegetables prepared in the house of Raghava. Shivananda kahe kene karaha putkara tena kahe deka tomara prabhura avyavahara. Shivananda said to Nrsingananda, "Why are you expressing dismay?" Nrsingananda replied, "Just see the behavior of your Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tina Janara Bhoga Teno Ekala Kaila Jagannatha Nrsinga Upavasi Hahila." He alone has eaten the offerings for all three deities. Just turn this off so it doesn't make any noise. It's supposed to be quiet. Because of this, both Jagannath and Nrsingadeva remain fasting. Shuni Shivananda Rachite Haila Samshaya Kiva Premaveshe Kahae Kiva Sachahaya. When Shivananda Sain heard this statement, he was unsure whether Nrsingananda Brahmachari was speaking this way because of ecstatic love or because it was an actual fact. Tabi Shivananda Kichu Kahi Brahmachari Samagriana Nrsingalagi Puna Paka Kari. When Shivananda Sain was thus perplexed, Nrsingananda Brahmachari said to him, "Bring more food, let me cook again for Lord Nrsingadev." Tabi Shivananda Bhoga Samagri Anhila Pakakari Nrsinghera Bhoga Lagaila. Then Shivananda Sain again brought the ingredients with which to cook, and Prajuna Brahmachari again cooked and offered the food to Nrsingadeva. Okay. Varsantare Shivananda Lana Bhakta Kana Dilachale Deke Yanra Prabhura Charana. The next year, Shivananda went to Jagannath Puri with all the other devotees to see the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ekadina Sabhati Prabhu Bhata Chalaila Nrsinganandera Guna Kahite Lagila. One day in the presence of all the devotees, the Lord raised these topics concerning Nrsingananda Brahmachari and praised his transcendental qualities. Gatavasha Pose, More Karayala Bojana, Kabunayi Kaya Yache, Mishtana Vyanjana. The Lord said, last year in the month of Posha, when the Sri Ananda gave me varieties of sweetmeats and vegetables to eat, they were so good that I felt I had never before eaten such preparations. Wow. So in other words, the Sri Ananda Brahmachari was meditating, but that meditation of a pure devotee like the Sri Ananda Brahmachari is the same as it is reality. There's no difference. Just like when we read Sanatana Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamrita, one may question, well, did this actually happen or did it not happen? But through his meditation, it's happening. That's the meditation of the pure devotee. The meditation of the pure devotee is reality. What we meditate on may be reality, may not be reality. But in the case of Nishiyananda Brahmachari, it was reality. Shuni Bhaktagani Mane Ascharya Manila Shivanandera Mane Tabe Prachaya Janvila. Hearing this, all the devotees were struck with wonder, and Shivananda became confident that the incident was true. E mata shachi grihe satata bhojana Shivasera grihe karena kirtana darashana. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to eat at the temple of Sachimata every day and also visit the house of Srivas Thakur when kirtan was performed. Nityanandera nurcha dekena sivare vare nirantura vibhava ragavera gare. Similarly, he was always present when Nityananda Prabhu danced, and he regularly appeared at the house of Raghava. Prema Vasha Gora Prabhu Yahan Premotama Prema Vasha Hanataha Denadara Shana. Lord Gaurasundar is greatly influenced by the love of his devotees. Therefore, wherever there is pure devotion to the Lord, and the Lord himself, subdued by such love, appears, and his devotees see him. Wow. Shivanandera Prema Singha Kegaiti Pare Yandra Premae Vasha Prabhu Aise Bare Bare. Influenced by the loving affairs of Shivananda, saying, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came again and again. Therefore, who can estimate the limits of his love? Eita Kahilu Gorera Avirbhava Iha Yeshune Jane Chaitanya Prabhava. Thus I have described the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyone who hears about these incidents can understand the transcendental opulence of the Lord. Purushottame Prabhu Pashe Bhagavanacharya Paraman Vaishnavateno Supandita Arya. At Jagannath Puri, in the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, lived Bhagavanacharya, who was certainly a gentleman, a learned scholar, and a great devotee. For a description of Bhagavanacharya, one may refer to Adi Lila, 10th chapter, verse 136. So I will leave it at that right now. Because I'll leave time open for questions. So today we went from 1 to 84. Wow, we covered quite a bit. Let me just... Antya Lila 1 to 84, chapter 2. Okay, so we will stop sharing, and then we will allow whoever wants to ask a question. Let's have some new people ask questions today. Usually it's the same old people who ask questions every week. We want some new, fresh people. Okay, so who new wants to ask a question? Must be some questions that you want to ask. Raise your hand, type in the text window, or you can unmute yourself. And if there's no questions, we'll have to end. This is meant for interactions. So in other words, all right, let me summarize anyway. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was externally present That's one way he manifested himself. All right, let me take a question in a second. He was externally present that people could see with their little eyes. He's present also in the manifested through his devotees, the Shaktavesh avatars, like the Sringananda Brahmachari. And he's also manifest wherever the holy name is chanted, always at the house of Sri Caitanya, always at the house of Sachi Mata and Srivas Thakur and Raghava Pandit's place. So he's manifested in all these places. And wherever the holy name is being chanted, then he manifests himself. So, someone asked the question here, it won't reveal who it was. How do I become a new person? First of all, you can't become a new person. That's impossible, because you are who you are. However, the question should be, how can I realize the person that I am and get rid of my upadis or designations? And that's Sarvopadi Vinir Muktam Tatpatatoina Nirmilam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. So what that verse says is that Sarvopadi Vinir Muktam, we have to get rid of all these false understandings of what it means, the person us. And how do you get rid of the false understandings? You understand that Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam, that you are a servant of the Lord of the senses, Krishna. Right now we're thinking we're the servants of our own senses, or we're the servants of our false ego, or we're the servants of Maya. So, anyway, so it's self-centered conception. We just have to realize that we're servants of Krishna. Being servants of Krishna means to be servants of everybody. And when you identify yourself as a servant of everybody, you will be tolerant. See, oftentimes we have problems being tolerant. Someone says something to us and we snap at them. And the reason is because we're not thinking of ourselves to be their servants. We are thinking that they are meant to please us. So right now you are thinking everybody's meant to please you. The Guru is meant to please you. Krishna is meant to please you. Just like yesterday, I was in Charlotte, and I was talking to one of my friends who helps run the Hindu center there. And they're building a new temple. It's like $8 or $10 million temple. No problem with the temple. But there's like something like 30 different deities in the temple. 30 different deities. And I said, what do you mean 30 different deities? Oh my God. Well, you gotta have something for everybody. So, we have no problems with people paying respects to the demigods because obviously they're supplying things to us. You know, we have to be respectful. There's no problem. That's not dharma, that's not religion. But that's, practically reciprocating with living entities who are doing something for us. No problem. But they're trying to bribe a Vidipurvakam, to bribe the demigods to get what they want. And I asked the question, where's the bhakti? They said, this person who actually has a position in the Hindu temple. He said, not much. Because what does bhakti mean? Bhakti means the desire to please. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmana vardam anukuyena krishnana shilanam bhaktir uttamam. That it's devoid of any personal self-centered desire, and we simply desire to please Krishna, do what Krishna wants, and do it in a joyful way. When we try to please ourselves, it's not joyful. It's just like we're trying to punas, charvita charavananam. We're trying to chew again something that's already been chewed. That's what Prahlad Maharaj says. It says, Punakpur, Adantagopir Mishram, Punak Purnas Charvitacha Radhanam, Matiran Krishna, Paratos Vitova, Mito Bitpadye, the Graha, Ratanam, Adantagopir Vishatam, the Mishram, Punak Purnas Charvitacha Radhanam. That if someone, Matirana Krishna, if someone doesn't want Krishna, uh, and nobody else can help him if he doesn't want Krishna. Even if he gets good association, good advice, whatever. Matirana Krishna, Pato Svutova. And he's taken a vow, and this is determination, Graha Vratanam, to enjoy this material world. And then Adanta Gopir, he has uncontrolled senses. Vishatam Dhamishram, he enters into ignorance. And then what he does is stupid. According to Albert Einstein, the great Acharya, Einstein says, keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. This is insanity. It's not only stupid, it's insane. So purnak purnas charvita charvanam, chewing the already chewed. So that's the problem. If we stop chewing the already chewed and understand that there's no hope in squeezing the last bit of sugar out of the bubble gum that has been chewed, because there ain't no more sugar in it, then there never was, but you thought that there was. It had a sugar coating, just like sometimes you may get some particular candy or even medicine has a sugar coating, but then after the coating's gone, it's all gone. Okay. So, is pleased at my humble basis. I really like your podcast with Caitanya Charan. Thank you. Okay, you're not going to become a different person. We want the same person, but we want the purified person. It's like if you're sick. Like I probably gave the example about if you have an eye disease. It's not that you pluck the eye out. You cure the disease. So you have a person disease. It's not that you get rid of the person and get another person. You actually get the purified person. You clean the person, or like, all right, if someone's baby is dirty, let's say your baby is dirty, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You clean the baby, and then you have a clean baby for about 2 seconds. So, time for one more question. Does anyone else want to ask a question?
Hare
Sam.
Krishna, Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have a question. Was there ever a time
Okay.
that was there ever a time that we were with Krishna? Because when I listen to the term of going back to Godhead, that means that I was there and I'll go back. But it's also said that if I go back, I'll not come back to the material world. So if I was ever there, what am I doing here now?
That's a typical question. What am I doing there now? If everything was just so wonderful there in the spiritual world, well, the point is, let's explain it like this: that the so wonderful in the spiritual world wasn't like Disneyland on steroids. It was the so wonderful was that Krishna was the center, and because we think the so wonderful in the spiritual world is like you got all these desire trees and producing fruit and the cows, the Surabhi cows producing ice cream and butter and everything like that. But that's not what's wonderful, the ecstasy. What's wonderful is the love for Krishna. And if one has some doubt about love for Krishna, it doesn't belong in the spiritual world. So when we talk about people leaving the spiritual world, oftentimes we project our conception upon something that in this world is like very pleasurable, like Disney. Of course, Disneyland's not pleasurable. So somehow or other, we were with Krishna, and we decided to leave. I mean, just like you see many times people do things that they know are wrong, just because either they're curious or they're feeling rebellious, and we have the same nature as God. We have the nature of being independent. That's the way Krishna created us. Just like Krishna has that nature, and of course, Krishna's independence never gives him any trouble. But our independence, when sometimes when it is exercised, puts us in trouble. So originally we were Krishna conscious entities. What we were doing before we came down, that's another issue. But we are here because we did some. We not necessarily did something wrong, but because our consciousness was not right, and that's why we're here. And we're here as a rectification. We're here not to get punished. Although the material world may seem to be a big punishment place, we're not here to get punished. We're here to actually get rectified. There's a purpose for that. And so we can go back to the spiritual world, and then when we go back to the spiritual world, it's because the spiritual world is eternal, and this material world, time is there, material time is there. It's as if we were never gone. And another point is, we are in the spiritual world right now. It doesn't seem like it. Just like someone immersed in a video game is in his house. But is he actually in his house because his consciousness is somewhere else? He's actually in the video game and in his house simultaneously. But physically he is in his house, but his consciousness is absorbed in the video game. So the whole question of when did he fall down from the house and enter into the video game, it doesn't have any meaning. Doesn't have any meaning. He decided to put himself into the video game, but he's never left the house either. Anyway, if that makes sense, you're a better person than me. So,
Hare Krishna.
it's like second life or third life. Okay, so we have to end now because it's time. Sorry about that, because we have a limitation. We can take more questions tomorrow. All right, thank you very much. We'll see everybody tomorrow, same time,